Hi everyone, this is our channel, Around My Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
How I found out that I was adopted was both odd and dramatic. Odd because I found out in a hotel room while the plumbing at home was being fixed. Dramatic because, well, finding out the parents you've known for 14 years weren't really your parents, tears were bound to ensue. There were clue signs when I was a kid that I wasn't related to anyone I grew up with. First of all, although people told me I looked like my parents, I never really saw the resemblance. Second, prior to my first birthday, I didn't really have any pictures of me as a toddler. And third of all, though you might think this is irrelevant, but I think it plays a part. I'm an only child. Either I was just oblivious, or that I was already so part of the family that it didn't really matter. When I was in grade 2, we learned about baptism in religion class. I went to a Catholic school and religion was part of the curriculum. Our teacher began that lesson by giving us this assignment: bring your baptismal certificate and a baptismal photo to class. The next day, I was the only kid in class who didn't bring either one. It wasn't like I didn't try. I asked my grandmother where they were because I needed them for class. I remember a brief look of panic flashed before her face. So I just shrugged it off. I don't know where they are, she said. I'll call your mom and ask her. My parents were working abroad in America at the time. I grew up with my grandparents in a tiny island in the Philippines. My grandfather passed away when I was 4, and ever since it was my strict but caring grandmother and a string of maids raising me. Summers were the month I looked forward to the most because it meant two things: my birthday and my parents visiting. I was your typical Filipino child with overseas parents. So, when my grandmother got off from a long distance call with my mother and told me that they had my baptismal certificate and photos with them in New York, I wasn't suspicious. I simply restated what she told me to my teacher, who had me look over a classmate's baptismal certificate and photos. When I was a little bit older, I had a dream. I'm the type of person who remembers her dreams. So, this particular dream had stayed with me for so many years. Even now, I still remember it. I was at home in the living room, playing with my favorite dollhouse. A woman entered the picture. I remember a mass of dark curly hair and a blue dress. I didn't know her, but at the same time, she looked so familiar. She plopped down on the floor next to me and began to play with me. And then she told me that she was going to take me away. Why? Because she was my mother. I woke up then, was confused for a few minutes, but then I shrugged it off. I must have been watching too much of my grandmother's dramatic soap operas. My father returned to the Philippines to help raise me when I turned 10. I was never particularly close to him anyways. I didn't talk to him much and I avoided spending time with him. Looking back now, I realized that I gave him such a hard time when he was only trying to be a good dad. I have to admire him for never giving up. In those years, I slowly became a daddy's girl, and I still am. He's serious and strict, but has his funny moments. My mother remained in New York, but now tried her very best to visit twice a year rather than once. In sixth grade, again in religion class, we were taught that names were important. They gave us our identities. What did our names mean? How did our parents come to name us? We looked up our names in a dictionary. Mine meant woman of purity. Another definition said simple. That night, I asked my grandmother to call my mother long distance so I could ask her why she gave me my name. Why did you choose my name? I asked her, pencil poised on the page of my religion notebook, ready to take notes. Why did I choose your name? She repeated. Yeah, I replied. I looked up my name and it said Woman of Purity and Simplicity. So why did you choose my name? She was silent for a moment before saying, I don't know. Let me call you back. We said goodbyes and we hung up. I thought that was odd, but I shrugged it off. It was no big deal. If you're still interested in how I found out I was adopted, or why did my mom choose my name, stay tuned for the second part.
Hi, my name is Selena. I'm 19 years old, and I'm just crazy about basketball. I follow all the sports news, the star players, and the league statistics. I know the names of all the famous players around the world. My friends were amused by this because their interests ran more towards makeup, fashion, singers, and movie stars. I thought those girl things were just outright vain, shallow, frivolous, and downright silly to tell the truth. The college's basketball team coach was forced to take leave due to a chronic illness, leaving the team without a coach. Due to my high school reputation and widely recognized basketball expertise, I was asked if I wanted to serve as the basketball team's temporary coach. I had always dreamed of someday becoming a coach for a famous basketball team, so I jumped at the opportunity. School leagues presented opportunities for players to show what they've got and maybe get scouted by a professional league team. It was also my chance to start as a college basketball coach. By studying the opposing team's previous games, I analyzed their strategies and learned their strengths and weaknesses. I was able to excel and drive my team to an undefeated streak of winnings. We won the College League Championship. I was selected to train a team in a professional league with another famous coach. It was an incredible opportunity for me to up my game a notch. During this time, I met an opposing team's coach named Jacob, who was something of a genius when it came to winning basketball strategies. He shared the same dreams as mine. He bragged that his team was better than mine. Well, I couldn't ignore the gauntlet he threw at my feet, so I challenged him to a game. My team against his, in the upcoming season, and may the best team win. If my team won, he would acknowledge me as a superior coach, and vice versa. The season began, and both our teams began beating all our opponents. I used these victories to hone my coaching skills to the next level. Both our teams were undefeated until the day we were to face each other in a championship game. The game began, and both teams played hard. We stayed closely matched the entire game. In the final few seconds of play, one of their players got past our defense. He scored a buzzer beat. I was crushed and began to cry, but my team's fans in the stadium broke into a loud applause. They began chanting my name, acknowledging that I have given them a great competitive, entertaining game. Jacob came over to me. I figured he came to gloat, but instead, he got down on one knee and presented me with an engagement ring. I was in shock. The stadium cheered even louder. I may have lost the game that day, but for some reason, I felt like a winner.
Hello, I'm Sarah. Ever heard of a phobia before? Don't worry, it's not contagious or anything. It just means you're scared of something in particular. Places, people, things. I have a phobia, but I don't like to talk about it, and I definitely don't want to be seen in that state. I was in my second year at college. I had been very busy that semester because we had a lot of assignments, and it was fine. I mean, I liked studying and completing tasks, but I was never a nerd or a geek. No. I like to dress nicely too. I have my own fashion and style. It wasn't easy making friends though. There were two types of people at my school: smart nerds who couldn't care less how they dress, and complete airheads who dressed nice. I didn't fit in either one of those groups, so I basically kept to myself until one day I got assigned to do a task with a girl and a boy, Jane and Kyle. They didn't look nerdy at all, and I thought to myself, oh great, looks like I'll be doing all the work. But when we started talking about the project, they didn't just sit there or toss ridiculous retorts. All three of us were having an actual conversation about the topic. I was so thrilled. It finally seemed like I belonged somewhere. We became friends and did everything together. We could tell each other anything. Well, not everything. I had one secret from my friends. I never told them I had a phobia. Anyway, a year later, Jane moved to Germany with her parents. She was going to finish college there. So it was just Kyle and I now. All through college, we were the best of friends. We even did our graduation project together. On graduation day, Kyle and I were supposed to go out for dinner. He wouldn't tell me where, said it was a surprise. And what a surprise it was. He had picked the highest tower in the whole city to eat dinner at the very top. I don't have a problem with high places in particular. In fact, I'm sure I'll love the view if I ever make it to the top. No, I had a problem with the elevator. A phobia, to be precise. So we were standing at the base of the tower, and Kyle was happily listing all the great features and restaurants up there, but I didn't hear any of it. I was too busy fretting, frozen to the spot, desperately trying to find a way out of the situation. I couldn't say no to Kyle, who was all excited to go up the tower, so I clenched it in and tried my best to stay calm. We got in the elevator, and the doors shut. I couldn't control what came after that. I was terrified, screaming and shouting hysterically, banging on the walls, then falling to the ground. Of course, I don't actually remember any of it. Kyle told me later on. The last thing I remember was the elevator doors shutting close. When I came to, I was at the hospital. Kyle was sitting by my bed looking worried. When he saw that I woke up and that I was feeling fine, he started laughing at me, saying, "Why didn't you tell me you had a phobia?" I felt ridiculous and started laughing too. And then, out of nowhere, he proposed. It was his plan all along, although he pictured it at the top of the tower. All that happened 3 years ago. We're married now, and we have a baby girl. I'm being treated for my phobia. It's not completely gone, but I'm way better now. Apparently,